difficulty I've had with the live streams, I still feel the upside is I like to know that we're in community. So thank you for letting me know you're out there. I do appreciate that. So let's come into a seated position first and we'll get started. So in our seated position, we want to check to see, so even if you're in a chair, we don't, typically when I qualify yoga in a chair is we don't actually use the back of the chair. So if you were in a chair, you just don't want to lean back. You want to come forward and you can maybe make some circles with your body. So one of the rules of the neck, the reason why we don't start with the neck, we start with the pelvis, is because we really can't, it's difficult to get rid of neck pain if we're fighting ourselves in the pelvis in our sitting area, right? So you want to make that comfortable first so that the focus can truly be on the neck. So making some circles with the body. And then you want to settle. You can think of your pelvis again. It goes into that posterior and anterior tilt, and finding the place in between those two where it just feels right for you. You're sitting upright without a lot of effort. And then the shoulders, I like to just do the shoulder sigh. So I take a big breath in and sigh out the mouth. And notice your breath in is going to lift your chest, right? So we're not slumped here. But when you sigh, we don't want to stay lifted. That's actually what we call the green light reflex. We just let the shoulders relax. And if you didn't get that the first time, do it a second time. It's this lift the chest, create space, but then let it go. And not letting go all the way here, right? Somewhere in between there. So now we can address the neck because the spine is happy. And we're gonna, working mainly with the 7 cervical vertebrae today, but it's all one, right? And we're gonna start with some very simple stretches. The reason why you're seated is because you know that you can do these from a chair anywhere. I do them, sitting in airports and things like that sometimes. So we'll start with the right side of the neck today. And you're going to just let your right arm, if you're in a chair, you can let it fall down, or you can let it, some people like to gently press the right fingers into the ground to increase the stretch. If that doesn't work, just keep your right hand on your leg somewhere. Feel your breath in and sense your breath out. And we're going to use the breath in to create space through the right side of the neck. So as you breathe in, you're going to gently bring the left ear to the left shoulder. And as you breathe out, come back to center. So what I want you to think is as you're breathing in, you're sending the breath into the throat. You can sip the breath into the base of the throat and let it fill that right side of the neck. And exhale, just let the head find its way back to center. So let it float. I'm not jerking it back. The other thing I try to do, so this is such a simple movement, and I know I'm probably making it more complicated than it needs to be, but what I often see when we're doing these side bends is people's heads come forward or they rotate. So we're not rotating, we're simply turning the head laterally towards the shoulder, dropping the ear towards the shoulder, and you can kind of draw the ear out towards the edge of the shoulder. And then the next time you do that, find the spot where you just want to stop and pause. And you can stay right where you are. If you're feeling tightness through the top of the shoulder, that right side, then take your left hand, you might even take your right hand and take your left hand and let it weigh down that right shoulder. And then you can open, this is great for your jaw too. If you have any jaw pain, just gently open and close your jaw. You might nod your head slightly, yes. So as you come forward with the chin, notice how the stretch goes more to the back of the neck. So we're going to start familiarizing ourselves with some of these neck muscles. As we go to the back, you're gonna feel your upper trapezius muscle perhaps. And as you take the base of the skull back, you're gonna feel the front of the neck. We'll be working a little bit with that. The sternocleidomastoid, that can be a stinker sometimes. So just gently nodding yes. If this feels okay and you want a little bit more, then wrap your left hand around. Place the left hand just above the ear. My fingers are above my ear. And push the head into the hand. And then gently, very gently resist with the hand. So head goes into hand, and I'm not pushing my ear down. I'm think of like if I could make my fingers into a hook, I'm drawing my left ear out towards the edge of the shoulder. So it's more of an outward lengthening than a pushing down. Right fingers could slightly press down. Just take a few breaths into the right side of the neck. So we work chronically into the neck. The neck, like the waist, is very psychosomatic. It is the connection point. I call it the superhighway between the heart and the head. So the feelings in the heart and the thoughts in the head. And then if your left hand is wrapped or anything else, we're going to take it down. You're going to leave the head there just for a moment longer, but you're going to take your right hand, place it on your chest tissue, right on your heart. Speaking of your heart, gently drag your chest tissue towards your right knee. So down and across, like you're kind of dragging your skin. If you have closer, that's okay. And then begin to lift your chin up just a little bit. Relax the top of the right shoulder. So what you should feel is you'll start to feel this muscle right in the front of the neck. That is the SCM muscle. You also have your scalene muscles there. So you're taking that head back, and again, you can nod slight little yeses. You can even do no's with this one. If you get any jaw pain or sometimes neck pain can be caused from the jaw, and jaw pain both of these can cause headaches. You can open and close the jaw or gently roll your jaw around. These are just things to play with. Remember, somatics is an exploration, right? You roll that jaw around. Keep relaxing the weight of the right arm, but gently drawing the chest tissue down and towards the right knee. Playing in that area. If you'd like, you can even take the left hand to familiarize yourself with some of these muscles in the front of the neck and gently massage them. You can feel them. It'll feel sort of like a thin pencil going through your neck there. And you can massage it with your fingertips. Remember, we're letting the weight of the right arm relax, because you're going to get into, so I mentioned in my write-up, we really can't work with the neck without addressing the shoulders. So notice you're going to feel the neck stretch through the right side of your neck, but you're also going to feel it through the top of your shoulder. There's no getting around that. And then drop that left hand back down, drop your right hand down, slowly, very slowly bring your head back. Notice how heavy it feels to the center. Sometimes you think it's center, we're still here. And just feel the two sides of your neck. So one thing that's really important when we come back is to note that we didn't overdo it, but you should sense a pretty big difference in the left and the right side of the neck, how they feel. And this is that moment of body mapping. Your neck looks the same. If I were to see right now, both sides, one side doesn't look longer than the other, but most certainly you can feel as if one side is longer, and your nervous system is mapping that out. It's learning this new position of neck muscles on the right side relaxed. And you're just being present and breathing into that, enjoying that feeling. So a lot of times when I do neck, I take extra time when I do the right and left side. And I also vary which side I do first. Although my right side is my grumpy side, so it gets more attention. And then we're going to do the same thing with the left side. So option to just keep your hand on your leg, your left hand. You could gently press the fingertips into the ground if you want to feel a little bit more. Right hand can stay on your lap and relax. Feel your right ear. And as you breathe in, imagine just gently touching the earlobe towards the top of the right shoulder. And exhaling back. So be cautious that you're not turning your head. This is not a rotational movement for the neck. It's a lateral bend. We'll do rotational next. And I'm also not letting my head come forward or back. I try to keep the base of the skull over the sacrum. That's where I think, or sometimes I use the description of the ponytail and nose, and taking that back a little bit. So stacking your head right on top of the pelvis, and the ponytail nose is staying in line. You're just inhaling ear to shoulder, exhaling back. And you can play with your range of motion. How far can you stretch and it still feels good? Versus if we start to stretch too far, the muscles are going to tighten to protect you, right? If you go way beyond your normal boundaries, we go beyond the boundaries to stretch, but too far and they're going to try to lock up to protect. Just going back and forth. And then next time you can settle in on a space where the right ear is over the right shoulder. This is a very subtle practice. You can keep things just as they are, or maybe you want to take the right hand to the top of the left shoulder. Hand could be at your thigh, and gently, very gently, I'm not pushing down, I'm just letting the weight of my right hand take that shoulder down. That's one way to do it. Or if it feels good, a little bit deeper stretch would take the right hand around, placing the fingers just above the ear. It's like, think of your head. I always think of my head like a bowling ball, and I'm putting my fingers in that bowling ball. And then gently pressing the head into the hand first, so you're resisting. Then use your hand to reach, not push down the ear, but lengthen. So it's like you're lifting your head up and away from the top of the shoulder. And from here, you can bring your chin slightly forward, getting into the back of the neck, feeling more of those upper trapezius muscles. You can lift your chin up and you'll come towards the front of the neck. Also play with moving the jaw. So this one I don't find a lot of need to do a no, but if you don't have your hand wrapped around, you could also do the no movement. Just that slight nod of yes. And you can zone in on your sweet spot where you need to be. And then breathe. Just let your breath do the rest. Be still. Sense the length through the left side of the neck, all the way from under the ear through the outer shoulder. Keep relaxing the weight. Feel the weight of your left arm bones just falling down. Breathe into the base of the throat. Like if you were sipping something really nice, a nice smell into your nose, and you wanted to sip that into your throat as if you could taste it. We'll relax the right hand down. Ear can stay over the shoulder. You're going to take the left hand, place it on the heart. Begin to gently drag the chest tissue down and to the left. So in a diagonal, you're dragging it down and then begin to lift. The ear is going to stay over the right shoulder, but lift the chin just a little bit. So now we're zoning in on that left front side of the neck, the scalene muscles, the SCM. And relax the top out. I notice sometimes I'll do this, my left shoulder will start to lift. So I have to say, just relax down, be heavy, visualize those heavy bones. And once you get there, you can do that yes back and forth. I'm still kind of keeping my chin lifted, but just changing it slightly. I like to do the no here. You can also open and close your jaw. Might feel good, especially if you hold tension in that left jawline. Soften your tongue. If you sense your jaw tightening, one of the tricks is keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth, just behind the teeth on the soft palate. That'll keep the teeth slightly parted. If you're a person that keeps your teeth and rubs them together, any of that, so the tongue can stay right on the roof of the mouth. If you're a teeth grinder. And feeling in, and then if you wanted to take the right hand in, as I lift my chin, I can really feel that SCM muscle. I can take my right hand and massage it with my right hand. And there's the physical part of the massage. Anytime we do self-massage, you're going to feel the skin-to-skin contact of fingers to the neck. But also I think particularly when we're working with the neck, the energetic part of remembering from our other practice, your hands and arms are an extension of your heart. So right now you're offering that heart energy through your fingers, through these etheric fingers and into your neck. So that message that you're sending is just as important as the motion. As you gently massage or just sort of explore that area. And then we'll take both hands down. Very, very slowly. Notice how heavy your head is. Bring it back to the center position. Yeah, so those are both good ones too if you tend to get tension headaches. That's a really good practice to do. So while we're sitting here, we're going to do one more. The first thing we want to do is check our neck. So this time as you inhale, you're going to turn your head towards your left shoulder, not forcing it, just go as far as you can. Exhale back to the center. And then inhale to the right shoulder. So this is rotation of the neck. And recognizing our neck is our most mobile part of the spine, right? So we don't need to be a bobblehead. One thing I'm cautious of again is that as I turn, I don't drop my chin. So now I'm not dropping it. I'm keeping my chin parallel to the earth, a true rotation. So we isolate these movements. We did lateral bend. Now we're doing rotation. Just doing 1 or 2 more of these. And then we'll go into our eagle arm flow. So this is a great one for any sort of neck discomfort. I'm going to give you a couple options on the arms. The first one is to just take your palms together in your forearms. If it works, you can take your left arm on top and take your hands to your shoulders. So that would be, this is number 1. Number 2 is here. If you can do full eagle arms, then the left is on top of the right, and we take the backs of the hands or even the palms together. See what you got. So you're going to feel, this is going to open the shoulder blade area. And what typically happens for most of us is we have head forward. So it seems odd because the upper back is weak and the back of the neck is weak, but it's also where we hold a lot of tension. So we're going to take these arms here, open that upper back, and then you're going to inhale, lift the elbows, lift the head. So I'll turn sideways too. And exhale, take the elbows down towards your belly, chin down. Inhaling up. Feel that stretch through your collarbones, the front of the throat. So now we're getting into the front. Exhale, feel it through your upper back and back of the neck. Just doing a couple this way, up and down. And again, you might have your hands here on your shoulders or just the arms together here. Whatever works best. So the thing with somatics is that we're trying to find the most mobility with the most pleasure, right? With the least amount of force. We're not pushing ourselves through anything. And then we'll stop for a moment and we're going to switch this movement. You're still going to keep the arms, so you could be here, here, or here. But we're going to do what I call the tick-tock. So now you're going to inhale, let your hands fall to the right. Notice they don't fall very far. You can still barely see me. I'm covering my face. But hands are going to fall to the right, and I'm going to tilt my ear towards my left shoulder. So whichever way my hands go, my ear goes the other way. I come back to the center on exhale, then inhale, ear to right shoulder, hands fall to the left. Come back to center. If you don't want to do it to your breath, you don't have to. Just go slow. You're going to feel more sensation the higher the elbows are to the collarbone. So if you're down here, that's okay. Or you might be doing it here, just letting your shoulders fall one way and your head the other way. As peacefully as possible. So getting back into the sides of the neck again, here or here. And opening that upper back. So we're getting those trapezius muscles in the upper back as well. Doing one more round. And then unwind those arms if they're wound up. Just take some shoulder rolls before we do the other direction. So if your arms are here, it's just going to be the same. Otherwise, right arm is on top. And you can just reach around for your shoulder blades. Give yourself a hug. That's always nice. Or backs the hands or palms together into the eagle arms. So once again, we're going to inhale. Lift elbows, take your gaze up, feel that sternum lifting, your chest, your neck is long and open, jaw is soft. Exhale, draw the elbows towards the belly and look down. And you're rounding your backside. Inhaling space in the front side. Exhale. Round the backside. Just letting your head and neck follow the flow. And these are super simple things that we can do. Seated. Do one more flow. And then pausing when your shoulders are over your hips again. You can lift those elbows up if you like, or you're wrapping around. And then we'll do the tick-tock. So if I'm wrapped, I'm going to drop my left ear to my left shoulder and let my shoulders kind of fall to the right. It's like you're lifting your left shoulder up to your ear. And back to center, and then inhale the other way, and back to center. And what you'll notice is whichever side the ear's falling, that side's going to tighten. We're purposely tightening the muscles in the side of that neck and the shoulder, and then we release them, while the other side is stretching. And we release the stretch. Just like we release the tightness, we release the stretch. Back and forth. You can do these with your eyes opened or closed, and I suggest you try both. because I work a little differently depending on if we have the eyes opened or closed. And last one. And release your arms. All right, now we're going to go down onto the floor. We've got one more we're going to do today. If you have a bolster, a blanket, something like that, I'm going to use this because I've got it. You're going to want it underneath your knee. So we're going to come down onto our back first. Get yourself comfortable. We're not going to be here long though. And then you're going to extend your left leg. I'm going to hit Tanner with my foot. Take your right leg across. If you're used to yoga twist, that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to come into a twist, but we don't want to let the knee fall down to the floor. Mine won't go there anyhow this morning. So we want to keep the thigh bone parallel to the floor. So you're going to stick something underneath that knee to support it. Like I said, a folded blanket, a pillow. You want to keep the right hip stacked on top of the left so it's not falling all the way forward. But you are going to allow your shoulder to lift up. Typically in a twist, we would keep that right shoulder blade on the ground. You let the shoulder lift up. And first, all we want to do, and your left arm can be here. Some people really prefer, I'm going to grab this blanket to show you something underneath their head. I'm okay without it. But if you want to give your head a little padding, make sure that whatever you're putting underneath it goes back behind the head because we're going to be rolling it. So start your face on the edge of the blanket and have some space behind you if you're doing that. Okay, so I'll just leave it there now. It'd be like this, left arm's relaxed. Just start to roll your right shoulder first. We're just going to do some simple shoulder rolls. Notice how the arm is relaxed. What we want to figure out is the difference between moving from our shoulder and our arm. And so the arm is going to move in relation to the shoulder, and then you can switch the direction of the circles. Just go the other way. And if you did the arms, fingers to arms with me, you remember we did the clock with the shoulder. This is basically that clock. We do the 12, the 3 is back, the 6 is down, and the 9 is forward, right? We're just doing it on our side body. So a lot of this stuff is repeated. So now we felt the shoulder movement, and now we can add the circle. So I'm going to take my right hand, and I'm going to begin to move my arm too in that circle. So I'm going to start down here and go down towards the front of my body, towards the floor. I'm going to watch it. And then go all the way up overhead. As best you can, you want to try to not bend your elbow. So even if that means you can't go as far back because you're trying to get your arm back here and it's bending, keep the arm straight and just make a nice circle around. All the way. Start to check that range of motion. And I like to inhale and reach up. Exhale, take it back down. So then we're going to do 2 different spirals. This is the first one. Moving the whole arm and the shoulder girdle. But then the second spiral is, let's stop next time the hand is somewhere up in the air. Imagine holding a doorknob in your hand and just turn that doorknob one way and the other. So what that's doing is, or the other thing I'll say is you're taking I did my light bulbs yesterday. You're putting a light bulb in the socket and taking it out. And notice again, the arm is straight so that I can feel this. So as I turn my hand, this one way is going to be internal rotation. You'll feel tightness through the front of the chest. And the other way is external rotation. So that's what we're doing is we're taking the arm into internal and external rotation, which then, of course, we feel through not only the shoulders, but we'll eventually feel it through the neck. So now I'm going to put those 2 spirals together. The big spiral of going around with the doorknob light bulb trick, just playing along. And then once I find all that, so it's exploration, right? Then I'm going to allow my head to start to follow that right hand. I'm not lifting my head. I have to take my glasses off for this one. If you have glasses on, take them off. I'm letting my head follow my hand because that's what it'll do very graciously. So it's not just a back and forth. I'm lifting my chin away from my head as the hand goes back. And then all the way towards the right shoulder. And then I bring my chin towards my chest as my hand goes down by my hip. So I'm going to feel my whole neck just responding to the movement through the shoulder. So that's the easy part, the more natural part, following the hand with the head. I'm going to have you do the same thing. You're not going to switch the direction of the arm circles. You can still do that secondary circle if you're feeling it, the doorknob. But I want you to look in the opposite direction of the hand. So as the hand passes to the left side of your body, you're going to look over your right shoulder. As the hand goes up and to the right or to the back, you're going to look over your left shoulder. So opposite direction, head goes of the hand. So this is where we're breaking down those movement patterns. Right? As soon as something seems more difficult or more thought-provoking, perhaps, then you know you're getting in there. You're getting into the nervous system. It's listening. It's saying, wait a second, you're doing it differently. And then if you really want to test yourself today, you can turn your head opposite of the hand, but with your eyes open, shift your eyes as if you're looking at the hand. So the eyes look at the hand, the head turns the opposite direction. And that's a whole different, interesting little thing that happens. That body-brain connection. And making these nice full circles, eyes shifting towards the hand if you'd like. Maybe do one more circle. So you'll notice how the neck will probably start to lock up. Keep it relaxed, right? Just one, and then take that arm down. Just pause if you want to be on your side for a moment and come into a fetal curl and rock yourself if you can, or give yourself a hug. Move your neck a little bit. So it may seem we're going into arms and shoulders, but again, that's a big part of holding tension in the neck often is in the arms and shoulders. And that freedom of letting the head respond to the shoulders, but also to keep the neck muscles relaxed, we need to be able to do things differently. You know, they don't always have to, our head doesn't always have to follow the arm, right? It can go the other direction. That's that repatterning of the muscles. Now we're going to switch. I'm going to turn towards you so you can see me, but you can stay where you are, or you may need to roll over, I guess, to see me. You're going to go onto your right side. If you use something underneath your head again, take that there. Starting from your back side, extend your right leg this time. Take the left leg over, and you're going to let the left shoulder come with, so that's going to pick up. You don't have to keep the left shoulder blade on the ground. But do support the knee so that the knee's not down here. The hip is stacked, left hip on top of the right, and the thigh is pretty much parallel to the ground. So support that knee. Your head's supported with something coming behind the back, so when you roll your head, it's still supported. You're not falling off of it into no man's land. And then feel that left shoulder, and just begin to do those slow rolls. And I'm moving from my shoulder girdle. I'm not using my arm. This is isolating shoulder movement. So arm is heavy. I imagine like my arm's in a sling. And I can do the 12 up, the 3 back, the 6 down, and the 9 forward. Find those numbers on the clock and roll out the shoulder. And notice how your arm responds, but so does your neck. You're going to feel the stretching through those muscles that we were working on when we were seated. And you can switch the direction of the circles. Keep the jaw relaxed. You can set that tongue right on the roof of the mouth on the soft palate. Or keep space in the soft palate of the mouth. All right, so that's just a warm up for the shoulder, top of the neck. Now we'll begin to make the spirals, and the spirals bring the arm into the movement. So you're going to take your hand and take it all the way in front of you and around overhead without bending the elbow. Even if we can't go as far, don't bend the elbow to drop it back here. Keep it straight so we feel that connection all the way from the fingertips through the shoulder girdle and into the neck. Just moving the arm first. Keep the head where it is. We're not watching it yet. Isolating the arm and shoulder movement. You can inhale and reach up. Exhale back down. Smooth circles. Should feel nice this morning. And then let's check out that second spiral. So the second spiral is the doorknob or the light bulb. And just feel how you can roll your arm bone inward, internal rotation. It feels like the front of your shoulder is going to kiss your collarbone. There's tightness in the pectoral muscles. You can also go the other way, externally rotate. You'll feel the tightness through your muscles in the back of your shoulder blade and your arm. So you're going one way and the other. Feel that out first. Notice how it affects your neck too. And then do those two spirals together if you got it. So you're going to do the big spiral with those secondary spirals, and you're just playing, right? What does it feel like to internally rotate the arm when you're down by your hip? Or to internally rotate it when you're overhead? And then vice versa. How does it feel to externally rotate your arm when you're down by your hip? And how does it feel? You can sense it through your arm and your shoulder, but also the neck. Keeping that head heavy on the ground. And now, speaking of the head, allow your gaze to start to follow the hand. Just very gently rolling. Gaze following the hand. Appreciating that movement. And you can do, as the head's following, you can do it with eyes opened or closed. One of the things I check too is what sometimes happens for me is I actually start to initiate the movement from the neck. And that's okay. You know, you could roll your head first and let your arm follow. We'll be doing more of that tomorrow in our spirals. We're doing body spirals tomorrow. So this is a good lead in for that. But the whole thing is that you're choosing what you're doing. Is your arm going and then your head is following the arm, or is your head going and your arm's following your head, right? It's all voluntary movement. That's the somatic side. We're feeling and sensing, and then begin to look in the opposite direction of the hand. That's a big voluntary thing. So your hand comes forward, you're looking over your left shoulder. Hand comes up overhead, I take my chin down towards my chest. Hand goes to the back left, I look over my right shoulder forward. As the hand comes down, I take my chin away from my chest. So I'm trying to get my chin as far from the hand as possible. That's one way I think about it. As far from the fingers as possible. And if that's all going well, you can give yourself a little bit more of a challenge. Let your head roll away from the hand, but let your eyes shift towards the hand. And I'll always remember when my teacher taught me this one. I thought she was a little bit crazy, but after doing it enough times, I can do it. That's the whole thing with resetting our nervous system. We can do these things. We're body mapping, right? And the more we familiarize our body with the movements, it starts to remember them and they get easier. So stimulating and waking up those nerves to the muscles that might otherwise be taking naps. And notice it from your neck. I'm not doing a great job on this side because I'm talking too much. One more circle. And let that left arm come in for a landing. We'll take a short rest. You can come onto your backside. Please feel free to bend your knees, place feet on the floor in constructive rest, or if you'd like to extend your legs, then put something underneath the thighs. One of the things that I like to do after we've done neck, so what I watch for first of all, for most people, is that what they tend to do is, if I double up this mat, is that unfortunately we all sleep like this too. We sleep oftentimes, I don't anymore, but I used to. We sleep in a head forward position, which is not helpful. This is head forward, right? My throat is short, my neck is long. So what you really want to try to get in the habit of doing is use a lower pillow, something where your neck is in. So for me, I actually don't need anything under my head. This is neutral. I just like a little extra padding. So I would flop my mat over. That's enough for me. This is natural curve in the back of the neck. I'm not taking that out. I'm also keeping my throat soft. But one way to support your neck in that more neutral position is to take your blanket, you can open it up, do just one little, mine would need to be more open for my neck, one little curl. So you're going to roll the blanket, and then you can put that neck roll underneath your cervical spine. So it's supported in its natural position, right? It's not up here and the cervical isn't long. It's supported in that curve. And then I've got just that little bit of padding underneath the head. Let your head and neck relax, let your shoulder blades release into the ground. And we'll just go back to breathing into the throat. Sip your breath into the base of the throat. In the energetic body, the throat is the Vishuddha chakra, which means purity in Sanskrit. As I mentioned, it's really more of a psychosomatic area, or we call it a psychological sphincter in our body. It's the connection point between the heart and the head. And from a standpoint, scientifically, the nervous system, all of our nerves run through our brain. They have to go through our neck to get anywhere else in the body. So it's a super highway. Lots going on there. Just breathe into it. Allow your breath to soften and relax the front of the throat. Feel the spaciousness of the front of your throat. That natural curve in the back of the neck is supported, and the more you feel the support of the neck, the more the shoulders can relax into the ground, allowing the breath out to just let your bones release into the ground, let the muscles relax onto the bones. You're welcome to stay here if you'd like for a little while longer. Enjoy the space, or come up to seated meditation. I'm going to do my official sign off, but I'll still be here with you for questions if you'd like, or comments. I really appreciate comments. I think it's nice to know if these things are helping you. I will set up another one someday, so this is all a test to see what's next. But say thank you to your wonderful neck and throat. How we express ourselves, right? And also how we listen. It's part of our journey of acceptance is our throat chakra. So communication. Peace, joy, love, and light.